What's up, guys? You're watching another episode of R&B Reviews. This is episode 6. Today we're going to be talking about Invincible, a super hyped TV show. You guys must have all seen it. And my very first question to Brender. So, you guys don't know, but Brender didn't like the first episode. He watched the first episode. He had a few thoughts on it. And I've been waiting to ask him all week about what he thought. So he sent me a text message. And it was very clear that he didn't like the first episode until he got to see the last 5 minutes. So that's just the first thing I want to ask him about. So what do you think about like going from the first episode and seeing like the other episodes? Like,
So the first episode was very boring. Like our initial thoughts was I was watching this with some coworkers at work because I didn't think too much of it. So our first thoughts was like, oh, this is a ripoff of like DC. Like you have the characters exactly the same. It was slow, generic, boring. Generic as in a superhero show. They had the regular type of training for powers when they first get the powers. The costumes were whack. Names are lame. Everything was just like a negative. Everybody that was watching it with me kept asking like, are you going to continue watching this? And I had to just because I told Ridwan I would finish it.
just a side note, he was watching it with like some of like his coworkers, so they didn't know that they were about to watch Invincible. They just seen like a random show. But yeah, continue. My fault.
But yeah, we just thought that it was pretty lame and everything like that. But then the last 4 minutes, we clock out of our shifts. I was like, you know what? Let me just finish out the episode, and boom, Omni Man goes out and he just dusts the Guardians of the Globe. Like he crushed them, kills them like easily, and that's how you imagine like Superman killing most of Justice League. So it ends up working out. It was pretty interesting. It left us on a little cliffhanger, making me watch the second episode.
When you seen it, like, so when you were first watching the show, did you think it was gonna be one of those like corny superhero shows? Like,
Yeah,
did you expect
100%.
it to be like super deep, or you're like, oh, this is just gonna be like a kids show?
I definitely thought it was gonna be what's called like a corny show. I knew like people kept saying there's gore involved, but I didn't know to the extent. But I definitely seemed like it's gonna
I
be.
shouldn't have said anything about that.
It definitely seemed like it's gonna be some type of corniness.
I can't lie. I had the same feelings as you. So when I watched episode 1, I was like, nah, this is 100% like the Justice League, because you have the guy that looks like Batman, you have like the Martian Manhunter, and then you had the longest scene ever of when like the two cops were talking, and you're like, yo, what is this about? And
Yeah,
then,
right in the beginning. Yeah.
and it's just like mad corny. So I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, it wasn't. I didn't like expect too much of it, but those last 5 minutes were just crazy. I thought it was crazy, like when they were fighting, because they all got called to go somewhere. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like they got called, like maybe it's like a superhero like thing, and then after they all get killed, and then like the intrigue starts there. So, nah, I was a fan of it. I feel like Mark during the beginning episodes was the least interesting character out of like all of them. Like it just looked like a regular high school kid. So I wasn't too interested in that. And then they introduce Cecil. You have Mark finally getting his powers. When Mark finally gets his powers, did you know then that Mark was gonna end up fighting Nolan?
No,
Or
I
Omni-Man?
I didn't know that. I just didn't know the reason why Omni Man did it. Like the generic thing would be like in my eyes, the generic thing would be, Omni Man's controlled, or he's doing this through some evil reasoning, and it was like a whole plot. So that was like the generic thing I expected. I didn't expect him to fight Omni Man, and I was just in that moment I was just caught up in he has the powers. Like, can he get as strong as Omni Man or stronger? And then they introduced like the relationships within his high school, which I like in shows. So I'm like, okay, so he gets this girl. Is he gonna get this girl? Things like that.
I felt like Mark, like his introduction to his powers, like I feel like he was one of the weakest superheroes, like out of all of the superheroes, like out of all the animes and stuff I've watched. I feel
But
like
he
was
just got his powers.
but he was so weak. Like usually when a superhero just gets their
He
powers,
was strong.
they
He just couldn't
beat
control
one.
it.
They beat one character. Like he couldn't. It felt like he couldn't win.
But see, this is like where the show I thought it was good because it wasn't like, oh, he got his powers and just because he has these powers,
He's super
boom,
sick.
he's gonna be like super good. It shows like the realistic side of like it's a cartoon, but it's the realistic side of you just got your powers, you don't know how to control them, and you're trying to save people. So this is like episode 3 or 2 where they fight those Flaskins, and
Yeah.
he tries to save like an old lady, and he gets hit. Like he tries to dodge things. He hits a bus. He scrapes her body off like the floor and
No
stuff.
boost.
He smokes it, and he says, "Stop! Like don't shoot these people." And then like four other people get shot in their heads. They're all dead. Like
He had
that's the
no
realistic
idea
side.
what he was doing.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
And like his powers, I expected him to be like, he didn't look like he was like, I guess he had the same superpowers as Omni-Man, but there was no way, like when I was looking at him and I was looking at Omni-Man, I was like, bro, there's no way that this guy is like even remotely close to Omni-Man. Like they're describing Omni-Man as a superhero, and then this guy was just like messing up. He just looked super mortal. Like all these people came and then they were bullying him. Then you had the group of teens come in. I felt like the group of teens were like, in the beginning they looked sick, like because in the beginning they saved him and stuff like that, and then the teens were better than him, but they were technically not super, like they're technically not supposed to be on like the Omni-Man
On the same level, but they seemed like they were experienced, and they worked together. So it made sense for me. I just thought his costume was back. His costume was kind of like a kick-ass rip-off in some way.
Yeah, he didn't have a
So,
good costume. He kind of
like-
looks like a bug.
Like I don't know how this is not getting like flagged for so many like
Copyright stuff.
copyright stuff. Yeah, I don't get. I see so many.
But then they killed off all the copyrighted characters in like the first episode.
Yep, the
Yeah.
first episode, the ending.
So I feel like because they killed off all the copyright characters, I feel like, I don't know. I just, the only other character that I see that I feel like is copyrighted now is like the detective. But other than the detective, I feel like everyone is kind of like original.
Omni-Man's a Superman ripoff. He came from Viltrum, even though like it turns out to be like a not so great planet. Still like a Superman ripoff. There's a version of Superman that does some similar work.
I bet. So when it comes to like the third episode, you see Omni-Man. He goes to the funeral. He's speaking about he's speaking about the deaths of all the people on like his team and stuff like that. How did you feel about like that?
I was like, this guy is either like a super genius or just doesn't care. And I was wondering if somebody would like call him out, and Damien Darkblood ask him some questions. And I liked Damien Darkblood, like his whole character and everything. It was cool to me.
I noticed that like whenever he's around, like people get like their breath gets cold, and you can see like the air in their breath. So I was kind of a fan of that. But I felt like his character dying or like being like excised pretty early. I wanted to see like more of him and like more of the interactions between like him and Omni-Man, because he was kind of like getting like to the deep of like, oh, like who did it.
Yeah,
even though we kind of already knew who did it, like he was kind of like exposing to everyone like, I like bet this like Omni-Man killed like the superhero. I thought Cecil was gonna be the one to tell us, yo, like this is what Omni-Man's real goal was. I still had hope, a little bit of hope, that Omni-Man was a good guy, like, but there's just like deep, like something
like there was a
to it.
specific reason.
Yeah. Did you see a specific reason, or did you feel like,
I
nah,
thought
he
there
has to
could
be
have
evil?
been, but like they never like suggested anything beyond like your speculation. They didn't suggest anything. I did like when Damien Darkblood would like touch the blood when he was checking the second episode.
Yeah.
And then he could see like how they died, but he couldn't see who did it, which is a little weird, but it adds to the story of the mystery. So he was a cool character, and I wonder if they're gonna bring him back or not.
So his storyline is that he got excised, right? Or he was from hell, and then his duty on Earth was to redeem himself by like being a detective.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but then I was thinking like, yo, if you send him
He's redeeming
to hell,
his soul by delivering justice to other souls.
but if they send him to hell, like he was already there when they sent him to Earth. So like,
Yeah, that stuff is gonna have to be explained, but that's just pretty much what they said in the story itself.
so when he got sent to hell, were you like, I bet he's gonna have to like come around?
I was sad. I like that guy. I was
Do
like,
you
damn.
think? I feel like I just don't understand how he can stay there if they already sent him back. Like, I feel like it's gonna be a trip, and he's like, oh, why are you back here?
It could have to do with something like somebody summoned him, because they did say they had like the transcripts or scriptures to like send him back. So there must be some sort of scripture to bring them bring him to this world.
I want when he comes back. I wonder what he's gonna think.
So you do think he's gonna come back?
I think he's gonna come back because
Okay.
like I just felt like the storyline like is just like nice. It would fit more for him to come back, but I wonder in what capacity he's gonna come back because like he's played his role as a detective, so I wonder like what other role like he's gonna come back in.
Yeah.
You have Mark's first mission. He goes to the planet Mars. I feel like the planet Mars episode was the worst out of maybe not the worst, but was one of the worst, the second worst out of the bunch because like it didn't really feel like he did much. It was just like, oh, like he went to another planet. I feel like it expanded the story, but I didn't feel like
it gave a chance for the GDA to see like what type of powers he has, or how strong he is, and if he's like a good guy or not. It also introduced like different species. Like we know there's different species, but like it showed it on screen. And this is when he's already been dating Amber for a little bit.
yeah.
So
So it explains that arc.
so it
Amber's
explains like, the
mad
relationship.
extra.
Amber is super extra. She's one of those girls like this is something I really like watching for some reason. She's like one of those girls that are like super weird and hippie and shit.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm independent, but then she like shows a lot of interest in Mark, and like that normally in other shows that type of character wouldn't show. And I was like, you know, she's showing a lot of like love to this guy. I'm like, I like her for some reason. And then I just hope he ends up with Eve, which eventually it looks like he will.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be
Because
good.
Eve understands it, but like Amber, so Amber knew he was a superhero, and then he would go to save people, and she'd be like,
Why are you late?
"Oh, you don't have enough time for me."
Yeah.
And like she'll literally
Those
watch
things
him
were
save
extra.
people, and then I guess she said because he was lying, but like
And he doesn't truly like it shows that he did in the season. He doesn't really truly love her. That's his like first type of girl that like showed interest, and then he does think she's attractive, and like
you don't think he loves her?
no, I don't think he loves her because he even when he was first getting with Amber,
Yeah.
he was really more interested in Eve. I think somebody brings up Eve's name, and Cecil brings up Eve's name.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Adam Eve will be there too, Invincible, so you can come with her. He's like, oh, Eve's gonna be there. He's like, was that the deal maker? Like,
Yeah.
okay. And then he's like, no. But this is when he's talking to Amber, and so that kind of shows me like, oh, he is dating Amber. Like this is high school stuff, obviously, because he's in high school, and I like it seems like it's regular stuff, like because somebody's showing you interest, you're entertaining that, even if you're dating them, whatever. But in the back of your mind or like in your subconscious, you like somebody else.
I can see that.
So filling a gap for a little bit.
I guess, and he's able to like confide more in Eve. Eve out of between Eve and Amber, like Eve seems like the cooler person because like
cooler and everybody likes her.
Yeah, everyone understands, and she understands like where Mark is coming from and stuff like that. And I feel like Eve kind of likes him, but she doesn't like say it because he's like, he's dating Amber or whatever. But I don't know. Like I thought Amber was mad annoying. Like you know who she reminds me of? Felicity in Arrow. Cause like Felicity,
a little bit, I guess.
Because Felicity, every time Arrow does something, it's always like, oh, this might be a slight spoiler, but she's always mad extra, like, oh, like why did you do this or why did you do that?
Felicity is probably the most hated
female,
in
yeah, 100%. But before Felicity, it was the other girl, Laurel, because she used to be exactly like Laurel. Felicity.
Yeah, she was mad annoying.
Mad extra for no reason.
Yeah, honestly, like at a certain point, they seem like they're attractive, and then just like, you know what? I don't care. You're just mad annoying.
So we have like the new, I don't want to call them Teen Titans, but we have like the new super.
I didn't even put that connection together, but yep, you're right. I didn't until you said it today. I did not put that. 100%.
The new superheroes of the globe.
Yeah.
They set it up with you have the robot like leading, or Cecil asked the robot to like lead it.
Mm-hmm.
They did have like some scenes where you think, oh, the robot might be evil because he did work with the twins, but I felt like the selection for the new heroes, none of the original team got cut off. I felt like I wanted to see someone get cut off and see like another superhero. Like Monster Girl isn't that sick of a superhero to me.
Yeah, then those powers are pretty shit. Where you get younger
every time
you use the power. So how often are the intervals? And especially in that type of world where there's like crisis after crisis. And she's not even doing crisis after crisis. She's doing like sometimes the cleanup after a crisis, and it's like, what's the point of that? Yeah,
I actually don't get it either. I wonder how, and they didn't even explain her powers too much in terms of like how much time she can spend in like her monster mode. Is it based off how many times she uses her monster mode?
The way they explained it, I just took it as like she can spend as much time as she wants in the monster mode, but
Every second.
every time she does transform, that's when it gets younger. It doesn't say how much younger, and there's certain times where she just transforms for a little amount of like spurts for no reason, or she does it like cause
like when she wants to fight Rex.
yeah, or she gets damaged and she does it. So I don't know, weird powers, but we'll give it to them.
And then taking Nolan at the time, or Omni-Man was watching them. I thought he was like,
watching them. He said pathetic. I loved when he said that. I was like, this guy is honest, and he's right. Like, he just look at him. He's like, these guys are because he just killed the Guardians of the Globe before, and he's like, I probably don't even have to try to kill these guys.
I thought he wanted like a good team. Like I was thinking when he was watching, I was like, yo, maybe he thought the last team was trash. So he's setting it up for like a new team to be made.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But I was thinking like,
at the time, that's what I was thinking.
I was thinking he doesn't want Invincible to join that team. Like he doesn't join the Guardians. He was just on his own. So I was thinking maybe he wants Invincible to be on his own like his dad is. And he was watching just in case to see the team. And he's like, yeah, these guys suck.
They're trash. They're not even close to the original team.
No.
Not even close. Let's see. So after that, my favorite arc. So my favorite arc was Machine Head and Titan. You have Mark finally talk to. I think he went to arrest Titan. I can't remember the situation, but him and Titan get into an altercation, and Titan's like, "Yo, like basically, I live in the hood. It's easy for you to like look at it certain ways, but you're ignoring all the people in the hood."
So pretty much, he when he first gets his powers, he doesn't even have his costume yet. He's just trying to stop people. Titan robs a bank or something, and he is stopped by Invincible.
Yeah.
So these are early episodes, and then later on in episode 6 or episode 5, they show Titan doing all these things. Like he blows up like building, puts it on fire.
Oh yeah.
And then
Machine Head, like,
and then people are and then people are looking at him like, why'd you do this to our homes, man? Like you don't care about us. And then he gives them money. He's like, you can go to this hotel, stay for the night. He would like, he's like a shark for Machine Head. So he would go and look for people that owed Machine Head money, and then be like, yo, you have to pay now. And then he sees like, oh, he has a daughter and stuff. Okay, I'll give you 2 more days, things like that. So it showed like he was a bad character or bad guy in terms of his actions, but he, like, you could tell he's still good.
Yeah.
So I showed that.
That's what I liked about him.
Yeah, so that was that, and I knew, like, I have it written down here, so I have my iPad on my side where I have my first thoughts written down just so I know, like, what's going on. He helps a lot of people, and at first I thought he was just helping people that look like him, like
people in the
black people, yeah. And then I said, so there's a scene where he goes and steals a chip, and the security pulls up on him, and the security is aiming guns at him. There's like 6 of them. He said, are we really gonna do this, guys? We can just pretend like you guys just shot rounds in the air and just pretend like we had a fight. Or we could get into a scuffle and I can kill all you guys. Like, is your life worth the minimum wage? That's his specific line, and I have it written out here. I was like, Ridwan's gonna love that scene, and he's gonna say that was too real. That's what Ridwan was thinking when he's watching it.
Why would you go up against a super villain, and they're only gonna pay you $15 an hour to risk your life? I would be like, bet.
They all aimed their guns up above and shot random shots, and they're just gonna say he got away, which is the correct decision.
I would have done the same thing, but they finally team up. They go against Machine Head, and I thought it was gonna be a good arc. Omni-Man said, "Yo, don't like help him. Da 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 da. He's not what you think, etc. etc." Then I was like, that kind of shows you like who Omni-Man is as a person, because you already like, yo, he might be evil, but then you're like, yo, he kind of doesn't care about people. Then after so when Mark actually like signs up to do the good thing, he gets destroyed. Like these guys beat him up, tear him apart. Like I was actually shocked. Like I thought they were gonna be able to make a difference. The one character you had like a tiger, half human.
Yeah,
he was doing his thing and like destroying both of them, and then he ends up getting help from his teammates, who still get kind of beat up. But I think the sickest part of that scene, which made the show good, is like seeing Omni-Man like at the top, like just watching. I thought he was gonna jump in.
I thought he was gonna jump in too. In that, I'm like, you know what? He's just watching to see how strong his son is getting, and like he's gonna be there as a protector, last resort. He's gonna come in like a superhero movie and save the day. So these guys go into Machine Head. They're talking to Crab. Machine Head's like, I have hired guns. His hired guns are super villains of some sort, and these guys get destroyed. Like him and Titan, the rock guy, they get
like massacred,
destroyed. And then the new Guardians of the Globes, they come through, and their powers are pretty like weird.
The only way they still got beat up too. The only reason why they won is because the Tiger guy is like, I'm out.
Yeah, he said he's done, and then pretty much he leaves. I don't know why he does. He just says this isn't worth my time. Yeah. Pretty much, it's not honorable. But they were losing a lot. Like Monster Girl got crushed. Her head was crushed in. Invincible, he got his like chest broke into. And then before the end, I think I don't know, Black Samson. He also gets smoked too, like broken leg, broken arm, twisted body. Like he just gets destroyed.
And then that's when he got his powers, because he didn't have powers before, and then he got his powers.
He lost it. They didn't explain how, but he lost them. And then after that altercation, somehow the defibrillator or whatever it's called, they recharge his body, and he ended up getting his powers. I don't know his powers yet. We haven't. I don't think he's used shown that. Yeah, but it was interesting to see that fight because one of my first thoughts was, he's Invincible sees like. Before he gets crushed in, he sees like his team losing or his friends are losing, and he like just sort of snaps, and like he just gets this wave of energy, and he just does two people, and he's like, who's next? And then the lion tiger guy says, I'm next,
and then does some.
Yeah,
but literally, I don't know if he's won a fight.
So he's shown in that light a little bit. Like there is, when he gets angry and he snaps a little bit, there's another like level to his power. Yeah. So they showed that in episode 2 as well against the Flaskins. So it's like building up to him getting stronger and stronger. So that's cool to see. And his dad does mention later on that like because he's a Viltrumite, that their DNA is so pure that he's pretty much a pure blood Viltrumite regardless of his mom being a human.
Yeah, which I didn't kind of get biologically wise, but I'll let the story like carry on with that. So then we see like then they go into like more arcs with like
and don't forget Titan leaves. Titan is like he took some damage, but Titan says, "Oh, thanks for helping me, Invincible," and then he walks away. Like I was like, this guy becomes like the head of the I thought this thing. Guy was real, but at the end of the episode he becomes the head of. He takes Machine Head's spot, and he just takes over. So there is some good to him, but there's some darkness as well. Not too much darkness, but there is darkness.
He did come there with his kid though. I think he had like his daughter when he came up there. So maybe he had to take that spot so no one else did. Maybe I'm biased because he's black.
Also, when I was watching that episode, just to finish this episode off, I did like make a point on the overall series as to this point. So I noticed that in the fights, they, instead of like having a good like fight choreography, they do replace that with like blood and gore. So instead of having like a good 1v1 fight or good move sets, you're like, whoa, this guy could do this power or this move, and he just looks sick doing it.
They just take his guts out.
They just take his guts, or they just
I feel like people love that, so like that's why like they do that. But I wasn't really a fan of that. But like I'm just like whatever.
It would be really cool to see both. If they added both good choreography and the gore, that would be interesting to see.
I feel like you're 100% right on like the gore part, because like you'll be watching it and then like you'll be like, like this fight should be sick, and the next thing you know, like the guy just gets beaten up with like gore.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the best, maybe not the best, but like the nicest fight scene or the most interesting one was with the twins. Like, excuse me if I'm wrong, but like the twins versus, actually we'll get into that later because it was the twins versus the robot. But before we get into that, like the mother, I feel like handled that situation so poorly.
What situation?
The situation of finding out that Omni-Man's like the murderer. She confronts him. Like she's just like she feels super nice and she's super comfortable around Omni-Man, I guess, because that's her husband for however many
For
years.
20 plus years.
And then she's like, yo, why did you murder them?
Mm-hmm.
And then she ends up going to tell Cecil and whatnot. So I feel like she doesn't tell Mark until like the last possible minute. So I feel like she handled that like whole situation.
Mark also wasn't there.
He
went to upstate New York, upstate University. He was on Mars trip. He was like, as she wanted to investigate by herself, so she would send her husband onto different trips. Nolan being Omni-Man, and then she would investigate on her lonesome. She found the suit. She goes to the tailor that makes the suits, and he was able to check the DNA on it, the time of the blood being not frozen, like going black. So the oldest blood, meaning he struck first.
Oh yeah.
So they both come to the conclusion that Omni-Man was the killer, and she knows him for 20 plus years, so she confronts him and she feels safe around him because she's been safe around him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the protector. He's protected the world over and over again. So it makes sense in that aspect, and she's a wife who's emotional. So she confronts him.
Yeah, well, I expected to see like her maybe tell Mark and then Mark kind of know beforehand, but whatever. I feel like I don't know. I expected more from that like situation. I feel like he kind of knew what was going on and she kind of knew like yo like he kind of killed her, but she didn't want to believe it. But once she found out, she just drank and it said like, oh, like how could you do this? Like you can't live here anymore. Like she treated it like he cheated.
Like he cheated on, yeah.
Like, but like I feel like it was like much bigger than that. But I guess she felt comfortable because him being Omni-Man and then the way he killed these people, I felt like
his history probably came into question. So, like that's why she based it off the history. But the one thing I don't rate what she did is she went to the GDA in episode 7. She goes to the GDA and Cecil is about to say some stuff, and she goes right away and like, hey, Nolan killed the Guardians. Like, hey, what happened to the 20-year history with your husband? Like,
when she went to snitch on him,
you're not gonna hold it down like a little bit. She just snitched right away, and I'm like, wow. Okay.
Do you think Cecil? One, do you think Cecil is trying to smash? And two, do you think?
No.
Because Cecil gets mad close. He gets mad comfortable with her.
He seems like super respectful and nice.
I have to show the clips because sometimes like he gets like mad close, and Cecil doesn't look like an ultimately good guy. Like Cecil would be like she's just like, please, like Cecil, you got to do something, and he's like, I can't help you. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't know. Cecil doesn't really give me that vibe of like.
So I have it written down in episode 7 as my first thoughts. So Cecil has a moral compass, but he ignores it in order to do the safest thing possible. So he's kind of like a machine in that aspect. Like he will ignore some emotions.
Yeah.
If it means doing his job correctly, his job being protecting the world. So like I've never seen him in a light that he's trying to smash. Like that's not even that hasn't even come up in one aspect.
I'm gonna put the clips up on the screen.
All right, put the clips up.
It's gonna be a Cecil highlight, Cecil and Debbie highlight. Yeah. He also does certain things like when they go to the school, they have like that guy that like creates the cyborgs. He takes the cyborgs.
Upstate University.
Donald's kind of like has the same mentality. They find the monster. They're looking for they're looking for anybody that can kind of like combat Omni-Man.
Yeah.
So like the monster, like he's like, yeah, this is the toughest fight that Omni-Man has had with the monster.
So they take Mark Grayson's blood and they're in a lab trying to figure out what can destroy it, and Donald pretty much tells Cecil like, hey, like Donald is basically the assistant to the GDA and to Cecil. Cecil being Donald, like the CEO, and he's like, yeah, we can't do anything to this blood. Viltrumite cells just do not die. Like there's nothing that like hurts them pretty much.
Yeah.
And that speaks to like the Viltrumite pure bloodness that Nolan was speaking about, because I understand you don't understand it from a DNA perspective, being the biomed man that you are.
I'm sorry.
But it is comic books. Like you can talk about anything that doesn't make sense. He says it's so like his cells are so strong that it pretty much takes over, and any half quarter Viltrumite would become full Viltrumite?
I wonder, like with Mark being full, because so one of the things that they talked about, like Cecil's like, oh, like Mark doesn't listen to you, like that doesn't happen on Viltrumite, and then Omni Man is like, no, it doesn't. But I didn't take in too much at the time. Like I didn't think too much of it at the time.
Is that a like DNA, or is that like
the
how
way
they're
he's
raised?
nurtured? I don't
Yeah.
know. But then think about it. He expected Mark to get his powers earlier, so he's just like. He said he waited. I think there was a time when he said he's waited to see if Mark was gonna get his power, to see if he was one of his.
Yeah, because they start getting their powers during like adulthood. He's still a high school person, so it
What
makes,
do they do get their powers during adulthood?
That's what it was explained in the first episode, I believe.
Because he said that he wasn't sure if Mark was gonna get his powers. He sounded like he wasn't sure. So and then that's when Mark's like, "Well, if I didn't get my powers, like you wouldn't be my dad anymore." I feel like his answer was no.
Yeah, I would not.
He'd be like, "You're not a Viltrumite."
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. But with that being said, like I guess it's like leads more into like I think episode 7 and 8 kind of like lead into like the finale of you have like Mark finally confronting like Nolan, and then or no, before that you have we can skip by this part, but you have like the robot like turning into a human so he can be with like.
So the robot was always a human, and he was like some disabled version of a genius. So he ends up like finding Monster Girl attractive in a sense, or likes her, and realizes he needs to create a body. Hence why he frees the Mauler twins. They create a clone of themselves, and then he asked them to create a clone of Rex's body and his mind, so he can live on as a different version of himself, and then hopefully have a relationship with Monster Girl. Weird. All of it was super weird, unnecessary. Does not affect the plot. If both of them die, I will not care.
Really? The robot? I
Robot is
started to like
cool.
the robot.
He's cool. He was cooler as a robot.
Yeah, he was
But
cool as a robot.
like the whole storyline is just whatever. Like
the twins are pretty. Like the storyline was good because of the twins.
The twins are sick, and the music that they play whenever they're doing something is just funny. I just like the whole thing.
The twins are. I didn't want the twins to get arrested, but like there's nothing you can do. Like
they'll probably get out for sure.
You think? I wonder what their next task will be. I feel like Cecil will get them out.
Cecil?
Because and when they revived the mortal and they had like the little like collar thing on, I thought it was gonna work. A part of me thought it was gonna work, but Immortal was such a sick character. Like in my mind, like I just liked who Immortal was as a person, and then like I didn't know like obviously they just
liked Immortal.
I liked Immortal.
You liked him for how?
I liked his character in terms of like how he's like technically like his character is literally immortal, but then like he's lived like so many different lives and he's died so many times. That was
a cool little flashback that they showed.
Yeah.
Him being like a caveman-esque, and then singing the Knight's Table.
Yeah.
And then I forget what he did after that. It was pretty cool. But the character as a whole has been on for less than 15 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, but I just like his
need
for revenge. His need for revenge was sick to me because like he wakes up and he's like, "Where's Omni-Man? Where's Omni-Man?"
Because he wakes up and the last thing he remembers is
Omni-Man trying to kill him. But like he
accomplished it really well.
but he just woke up. Like maybe he had to travel to Omni-Man to go back and kill him.
He's immortal.
I know, but like,
how did he know where Omni-Man was?
That's a good question.
Plot holes, I guess. But Immortal, that's another character that seems like it's another ripoff of a DC character. Who? I can't come up with the name. I'm not the greatest with comics. It was the costume was Wolverine-esque and the facial like features, but I know Wolverine is not immortal in that sense, like the concept they had. But there is a character who is, and I just can't put my finger on it. I will get back to you on it for sure. 100%. This shit was ripped off.
Alright, so now it kind of transitions into like you have the fight. You have Mark and Omni-Man working together to fight that beast. Which the beast was actually stronger than I thought it was gonna be, and like they had like more control of it, and the beast specifically hated like Omni-Man.
Yeah. And Omni-Man's dealing with the monster and Immortal at the same time,
which shows you how strong Omni-Man is, and then Omni-Man I forgot he punches.
Omni-Man is what Superman's supposed to be. Every other DC thing where you see like the Justice League giving him some sort of trouble is not what it's meant to be.
You think Omni-Man is like exactly what's like
Exactly what Superman is meant to be, like having zero flaws. They only, when he came out, Superman was supposed to be perfection. The only reason they added like kryptonite is just because
he was there like
the story wouldn't be like entertaining. Yeah. So that's the reason pretty much. And in this story, if Viltrumites are like Superman, then and they have fleets and fleets of these people, there's realistically, and you want to be realistic and Invincible, there's no chance for Earth. There's no chance.
To be honest,
the story will somehow come around and make it that they have a chance, but like as they've already shown us, there's no kryptonite. There's no other. So
I feel like I felt like when I was watching the show, like seeing Immortal, I thought Immortal might have a chance to beat Omni-Man. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you, but I thought like, yo,
that's really crazy.
Immortal. I was seeing Immortal fight, and I was like, yo, Immortal might be able to get the dub or something crazy.
I've never seen Omni-Man get stabbed through his chest or anything. With another.
He got knocked out when the whole league was fighting him.
He didn't get knocked out.
Yeah, he did.
No. He
killed the whole league. Then he got knocked out.
And he dropped of exhaustion. Who's to say he didn't
exhaustion.
Do that? He didn't. He killed everybody.
And he was in the hospital.
Who's to say he didn't do that on purpose?
Because the hospital did the scans.
The hospital's dog water. They can't even kill his cells.
They couldn't even say Monster Girl. They had the robot. I can't lie.
So he could have just been sleeping the whole time and listening.
I took it as they were this close.
Oh, no chance. Him. Not even close. The way he was killing them, they had no shot.
And Immortal, these are the two people who had no influence on him. I think it was the Elastic Martian Girl or the Elastic Girl. And
that was the guy, the Martian guy.
The Martian. It was a black girl that wasn't it a black girl that turned into a Martian or something like that?
She turns green and she can phase through things.
Yeah.
But she got a hand through her face and died.
I don't know how she let that happen.
But the Martian man, he's like, the Aqua guy said.
He should have ran away.
The Aqua guy said, "Are you okay? You ready to fight?" And the Martian guy's like, "Yeah." The Martian guy goes and wraps around him, and he literally just gets peeled off and killed.
That was crazy.
Your ass.
The Aqua guy should have just ran away.
They all should have just ran away. War Woman thought she had something. She hit him like a few times, like good hits, and he just took that shit and then hit her back, and she couldn't handle the same thing. They had no shot. Like it was just nothing.
Immortal was close. I'll say Immortal was close. Immortal was closer than Mark.
Yeah, Mark is still learning. Mark is still new.
But Mark has
been 6 months into this, and he has a lifespan of like thousands of years. So realistically, he's like 1% of who he's supposed to be.
But when did that? I understand what you're saying.
Wise.
But I thought the fight between Mark and Nolan would be greater.
No, he just learned his powers, and you could tell like if it was supposed to be greater, the season it wouldn't be that important. The ending wouldn't be that important, and then there wouldn't be multiple seasons left.
But when
episode 8 came out, you knew like there's gonna be renewals for sure, multiple seasons.
I know, but like
he wasn't even close. Yes, but like, what did you expect?
Even
He's young.
The guy that was super speed damaged the cloth on his shirt.
Like, and his body. He gave him some like
So
he's not. They're not entirely invincible, but. It was.
But Mark punched him in the face, and Omni-Man was like, "This guy didn't even do anything to me."
Yeah, that's your storyline. That's on Invincible. Like, blame them. Why are you talking to me about it?
I'm just
send them the review. Like, bro, how is he a Viltrumite and his punch doesn't even bruise his dad at all?
I don't know.
While the Flash guy can bruise him.
And I like
somebody gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't want to say who. The whole season they gave it a 10 out of 10. They said there was zero boring parts, and I can tell you there was boring parts.
There was some
for
boring
sure.
Parts.
The first minus 4 minutes of the last ending of the first episode, you can count all of that as boring if you want.
I liked I liked how Omni-Man kind of showed him the truth. He's not the truth, but Omni-Man like went super villainous. Like he was killing everybody. Like,
he went different.
he put him through the train, and then after the train, like after they got through the train, he like tripped the train just to kill more people.
Just to kill more people
for no reason. I was like watching that. I was like, bro, you didn't have to do that. Like, there's no.
He was killing people. Like the bodies was going crazy. This is why a lot of people are gonna like this show because like the gore was insane. Like you can see
Super
blood
insane.
and you can see this.
Mark couldn't even save the people in the building. He was trying to hold.
Why wouldn't the train just stop at them? Okay, whatever.
Because maybe the train. Like why didn't he hit them and then the train just stopped?
Yeah, say if it's an immovable object, the train would just stop. They wouldn't break through unless he's moving, which whatever.
Maybe
but
Omni-Man is
Omni-Man
super sick.
punched. Omni-Man said so. Invincible punches. Invincible is Mark. If we haven't made that clear, he punches his dad, Nolan, being Omni-Man. He punches his dad. His dad takes it. He's like, "That's it. I'll show you exactly what you got to be doing." He punched him so hard, he goes flying for a few minutes, I want to say, hits a building, goes through that building, goes through another building, and the second building he hits, it collapses where it's going to fall. Like, the whole building is going to fall.
Yeah.
And Invincible is still falling down. He hits the pavement of the road, and he's hitting the road so much that the cars are flying away and killing civilians on top of him.
Crazy damage.
And just like he killed thousands of people with one hit. The building falls and Invincible goes up and tries to like save it.
Save the whole building and then save two people.
And then he couldn't do it. The next scene you see.
Keep in mind he tried to save, not to interrupt, but he saved the pilot, and then Omni-Man kills the pilot. That was too savage. I was like, this guy did not.
Yeah, so that was pretty. He kills him right in front. And during that scene, I was like, you try to show him like their lives are insignificant, and then you kill them, and you can clearly tell like your or I can clearly tell like your method of teaching him is not working. So, what's your strategy? Let me continue on doing what I want to do and kill more people to see if Mark will understand. Well, he didn't understand the first time, so doing it 45,000 other times wouldn't work.
Do you think Mark should have he made the Viltrumite like empire sound intriguing?
It is like
very intriguing. It did sound like, you're just gonna be a part of our empire. We're gonna increase like the medical stuff. Like, he didn't even say they needed anything from them. He just said they just got to be part of the empire. Like
that's what I actually questioned too. So I have my first thoughts for episode 8, like the last finale that released a few days ago. Omni-Man feels sort of torn because he does have this. He said Debbie is more of like a pet to me because of my lifespan.
Yeah.
And they have interaction and kids, whatever, with whoever they want to, but he is torn because he does see Mark as his son. Like, even though he doesn't want to admit it, he does see him. It was a real concept when he said, I can just kill you and make another one. That is true. A lot of foreign parents do say the same thing.
That's 100% true.
So,
and he has thousands of years to do it.
So that was, but he does feel torn when he says
only 16 years.
Yeah. So he asked a question. He gets so emotional where it's like, it was like raw emotion. It was sick because it's like, this is exactly what you would expect a drunk father to be like abusive. So I have that written too, like like a drunk, and his drunk dad blames everybody. So he goes and kills like all those people, and then he's like, Mark, see, this is because of you.
Yeah,
you didn't want to learn, so I killed everybody. Now you want to learn, and then he's sitting there lying down. He's like, man, I don't know what to do. He gets up. He's like, Mark, what are you doing? Their lives are insignificant. Insignificant, yeah. So he's like, yeah, there's meaningless. He's like, what are you doing? Like, why do you care so much? He's like, think, Mark, think. And he was he was getting so mad. I don't know about you, but I have my dad specifically done that to me. He's like, think, man, think. And it was so funny. I was like, this guy, he cares. Like, he like, there's a part of him that really cares. He's like, what are you gonna do when you're 5,000 years old and you've aged nothing? Everybody's dead. What are you gonna have then? And then beat up Mark says, I'll have you, Dad. I'll have you.
I didn't think he was gonna say that.
I didn't think he was gonna say that.
Like, his dad just beat him up and killed like thousands of people.
Yeah, I guess he does. He knows he can't beat him up.
No boost.
He can't fight. So
Mark's
just like, whatever.
Mark's dad, Omni-Man just flies away.
Yeah. So then, one question was at the burger joint. Before he flies out
Mm-hmm.
at the end. This is end when like Nolan's already left the planet. Omni-Man's already left the planet.
Yeah.
They're like they're trying to make Mark feel better. Amber, William, and Eve, and then Eve's like, oh, by the way, I am Adam Eve. How did these people not know
That she's Adam
she's
Eve?
Adam Eve? It's in the name. She's not wearing
They
a
thought
mask.
she was Kate.
Who's Kate?
Kate, the duplicate. Because remember,
Oh, she did. Yeah, they're bugging.
You're the girl that
Duplicates? Yeah, they're buggy. Like, I don't know. What are you guys doing? And then,
That's
like,
funny.
she even, when she's having, like, her family issues, her story arc was, like, her dad doesn't believe in her and he doesn't want her to do things.
Yeah.
And they argue all the time. She leaves the house and she does her magic without her suit outside of her house constantly.
That's what I was.
How do
these
people
guys
not
fly
know who
in and
she
out.
is?
This guy made a crater in the ground. I don't know. That
Yeah.
was like the plot holes in terms of the secret identity.
And then another thing was, like, these are just first thoughts of episode 8. So whoever's giving it, like, a 10 out of 10, like, just take these into account. So Nolan leaves the planet, and he's gone. And Cecil, GDA, Debbie, Mark, Eve, Amber, everybody, they're asking, oh, where's he gone? Mark says, I don't know where he's gone. Where do you think, buddy? Where do you think? Where do you think he's gone? He's gone to the Empire he was talking about, and he's gonna be back. That is the storyline.
Because the guy literally said, they don't ever give up.
Yeah,
They're
they don't
relentless.
ever. That Alan, the alien guy.
Yeah, Alan the alien.
He was mad funny. He's like, "This is a Urath, my bad." Oh, I came back from the coalition of planets. Yeah, this is terrible situation. You guys have a Viltrumite.
That was actually hilarious. Mad late. They took out the last minute.
Yeah, he was funny. And then I was just like, how do you guys not know what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just weird. And is he right about so this is something you touched on. This was another first thought I had. Is he right about there being more benefits to joining the Viltrumite Empire than not joining it? Like, what's the negative aspect
of joining the Viltrumite
of joining them?
I
Yeah.
actually don't know.
Cuz other series, like, they'll show, like, if you join this empire, like Star Wars, if you join the Empire side, like if you get ran over by them, then you have a lot of, like, soldiers on your planet, restrictions. They'll probably take your resources, things like that. You. This, like, Nolan could be lying, of course. He's just killed a lot of people. Yeah. He could be lying, but he explains, like, they'll be given
great medical care.
Great medical care.
Will, like, live so much longer.
Future tech, etc., etc.
Everything sounds so good.
All you have to do is
I wanted to join the Viltrumite, but I can't lie. Like, he made it.
He should have been a salesperson.
That would have worked. That would have worked on me. This guy's just like
the way he described it right now. If your dad said that,
yeah, he's just like future. Like, all he would have to say is like, your mom would live longer. I'm like, okay, bad, sign me up.
Okay, and you wouldn't question it.
Like,
this is where you'd be terrible.
I mean, like he said, like
Redwan the superhero.
What are the downside? Like, to be honest, he did kill a whole
Okay, imagine this. He said to you, Ghana is the greatest country ever. You never knew about this. Ghana is the greatest country ever, and all you have to do is, like, go back to we just have to go back there and live there, and like, you'll have the best tech. You'll have like the best service in terms of housing.
But they didn't have to move. They just said you just got.
I know, but
into the
it's
country.
It's the same planet. And then he's like, "Oh, your mom will live longer too because of the medical genius that they have over there."
It sounded convincing.
All right, would you do that though?
I think I would take him up on the offer,
okay,
but it would have to be
just checking.
I would have to, like, they showed a video of Viltrumite, so I was looking at Viltrumite, the planet.
Yeah,
like,
from his eyes.
Yeah.
You think that's the video that they're showing?
I would ask more questions, like, yo, like, can I see, like,
they sent one soldier to conquer a whole planet, and
if they fail, they destroy the planet.
And they fail, they destroy the planet, and you're not going to question if he was lying or not.
You can't even beat him up, so he doesn't even have a choice.
Yeah. I don't know. They're going to have some weird angle, like a superhero thing.
On how they beat him?
Yeah. Whoever said this is like Attack on Titan. This is like...
It's not like Attack on Titan.
It's not. They said it's like Game of Thrones. Like, anybody can die.
It's...
Like, who's died that you said anybody could die?
First episode.
Yeah, other than the first episode.
I was actually talking to my brother about this. I said, this show tricked people into thinking that anybody can die because they killed so many people in the first episode.
And that's like
a pretty good trick.
That is a good trick, and that's like the story that everybody wants. Is like, anybody can die, and that was how Attack on Titan has been for a little bit. I don't know about the next season, but that's how it's been going on.
Now then we have to wrap it up because like the finale talk was really good. What would you rate the like? What would you rate it? There's so many questions I have to ask. I might cut like so much stuff out. But what would you rate the show compared to like actually first rate the show. Like what would you rate
the whole season?
The whole season.
All right, I'm gonna be generous because I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'll give it like an 8.2.
8. That's higher than I would rate it.
Right, it's higher than you rated it. I'm just being generous.
I know, because like 8.2 is like
it's a good season. The reason why it's gonna be an 8 for me, okay, I'll say 8, solid 8. The reason why it's a solid 8 is I like the little relationships that they have between like the high school relationships because those are just sometimes they're interesting. How people play and like why they say the things they say. The fighting, the gore was cool. People were dying. The Titan storyline. Robot was cool in an aspect. I liked the Mauler twins. It was 8 episodes and it didn't feel long. Like it didn't feel stretched out. I would see the episode. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm almost done this episode. It's not bad. So it's a 16. If you look at it like an anime
is 16 episodes.
It's 16 episodes, which is nothing. Like that's light work. Like if you need that.
In that context, it's pretty good.
So I'll give it an 8. The slow episodes, like the first episode, beyond the 4 minutes, it'd probably be like a 1 out of 10. Yeah, it was terrible. But it was a solid 8. I'll give it. It's not bad. What did you rate it?
I was gonna rate it like a 7.5 because I felt like
7.5 and you got this hyped about it?
Because like I feel like there's so much potential, but at the same time, like it hasn't. Like I finished the episode or the season thinking like this can become a goated show, but it hasn't become goated yet. Like I finished it like.
If you ask some people,
it has potential. Like when he said like, oh, there's another empire that's trying to fight against it. I was like, okay, now this show has so much potential. And then you have like the twins. They show like some of the other characters kind of.
They show Omni-Man killing the Flaskins or all of them pretty much.
They have like they show the Titan also setting up to fight someone in his office. Like they show so many different characters. They're like, oh, what are you gonna do? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna go back to high school. Obviously that was like a joke thing.
And I don't know if it was a joke thing. He probably wants to finish out high school.
He's not gonna get the chance.
And what about like, does Titan not remind you of like a Spider-Man character? Kingpin. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's a lot of similarities in terms of storylines.
The detective, did we say Hellboy? I said Hellboy. You said Damien Dark.
Damien Darkblood is Damien Dark. Just take the blood out. It's the same thing as DC's character. There's too many like similarities where like there's been like years and years of companies suing each other, and I don't know how this is not getting sued, but okay. It's good nonetheless though.
I feel like it has the potential to be a show that's like a 9 out of 10.
Oh, I don't know about 9. No.
I think it has that potential.
No, there's gonna be like a whack. The parasites on Mars. So when Mark goes to Mars, the Martians tell him they're scared of this like parasitical species that's been ravaging planet after planet. They need a host. They need a strong host, and then they can, the host can unite all of them, and then they can take over. And it takes over one of the astronauts. Those storylines is whack, super whack. I hope they don't go with it.
That was bad.
That's one of the thoughts I had, and I wrote that down. I hope they don't go with that. But we've already seen in episode 8, the finale, that's gonna be one of the villains, one of the.
Where was that astronaut? Like, was he on Earth? Was he on Mars?
He was on Mars. They took him over.
Didn't they bring him back to Earth?
They did, but it was just a fake, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. I don't even like. Usually, I'll question that and I'll look into it.
You just want to see.
I don't want to see. I don't care about it.
I feel like To be honest, I understand that. I just feel like it's a 7.5 now. I think it has the potential to be a 9. I think that this is going to jettison a lot of these cartoon type shows into the mainstream.
But there's been cartoon shows that, don't you think?
I think there has, but they haven't been super mainstream yet. Like I think Amazon is trying to take some of this stuff mainstream. I feel like cartoons and animes are going to be super big for a lot of these networks.
Well, 100%. If you're not watching anime, something's wrong with you.
I feel like that's. I feel like people. Anime hasn't been normalized fully yet, but it's normal. Like if you watch anime, people are like, but alright, that's cool. Now like it's gonna be like people are gonna choose to watch anime over and cartoons like this over like real
life
shows.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's gonna be.
There's not a real life show that you could tell me that is better than any of the animes I'm watching or going to watch.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, Game of Thrones came close.
It really did. That was fire.
But then, the last season, they fumbled the bag on the last season.
Yeah, they're even trying to like petition it for the shoot of the last season
because it was terrible.
Vikings was really good, and then that fell off.
Arrow was really good at a time. That fell off.
Flash.
Animes are way more consistent in terms of like characters, what they do. I just like the anime storylines more than I do like the TV show storylines.
The emotion is I don't think I've ever like teared up for talking about like a TV show. Like, have you?
Not the way that I've teared up for anime.
Anime does something.
Like there's
the
animes
music.
where I'll literally be crying. Like I'm crying.
It's
Like, it's crazy. But I agree with you. But do you have any more questions about this? Like, oh, actually, no. Do you think that this show could be? I know you have a list of like animes and like cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have your list of animes, right? Like top 10, top 5, whatever. Last question. Do you think that this show could ever crack, in being a non-anime, do you think it could ever crack into your like top animes?
No, not top. My top anime list? No, not even close. There was like, did you feel emotion? Sometimes I would laugh. Like I was laughing when I was watching this.
Like emotion. I never got emotionally attached.
So it's not gonna crack your list. So why would it crack mine?
I'm just saying. Like,
there's no shot.
I think it could potentially crack my list.
No, there's no shot. So like the ending of episode 8, how they were like, oh, what's your plans? Oh, I'm gonna go back to high school, and then they go flash into like, the parasites.
Yeah.
The Titan issue. Like these problems, what they're doing is sort of like a Marvel thing about like what's going on in the universe and what type of problems could happen. And so the next 2 seasons, I'll put some money on it that I don't even think the Viltrumite things will show up. I think the next 2 seasons will just be build up of Mark getting his powers, getting stronger, his relationship with Eve and Amber, them getting stronger as a group, more Guardians of the Globe.
This might be a good prediction. I think this is a fire prediction.
Yeah, and then like dealing with the parasites attacking Earth, Titan situation, like dealing with those things that they flash to, and then after the season 3 ending will be like, if it's really like a Marvel thing, they'll have like the end credit scenes of like, oh, Viltrumite, Nolan says, yeah, Earth is ready, and then season 4 will be renewed to attack Earth.
All right.
And he should be strong enough to pose some sort of threat. Realistically, your storyline wise, he can't, but we'll see what you can write, because one Viltrumite, even pure-blooded versus the entire fleet, and they don't give up. They'll blow up the whole planet if they have to.
That's actually a good point. I like that.
Yeah.
So that wraps it up. We kind of went a little bit over time, but we appreciate you watching. We're definitely gonna do more content. We still have some more animes that we need to talk about. Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. I think that's it for the Nair until we more animes finish, and then we pick our stuff.
Yep.
But we'll definitely have some guests on to give their point of view. And that should be everything. Thanks for watching, guys.